If you live in Columbia or if you live anywhere in the Midlands, you've probably heard about Bull Street, maybe from your grandparents or your parents. Didn't necessarily have a positive connotation along with it. The South Carolina, at that time called Lunatic Asylum, closed in the late 1990s.
Yes, and that was the actual title of the building, was the Lunatic Asylum. But its history is now coming to the big screen in a new way in a new feature film. It's called Bull Street. News 19's Shelly Garzone got an exciting chance to talk with the creators of this movie right before it makes its debut here in South Carolina. Shelly.
Yeah, Darcy, Andrea, I was able to talk to the directors, cast, and producers who tell me they're so excited for this film to hit the big screen. They told me all about the culture and history they hope viewers will learn from the film.
I found the death certificate of my great-great-grandmother, which is my grandmother's grandmother, and I found her death certificate. She died in Bull Street in 1958. And so that's what and I realized that she started losing land.
A story filled with love, humor, and conflict. For writer and director Lynn Dow, the story began in 2003 as she grieved the loss of her grandmother, who was born and raised in the Clarendon County town of Somerton.
I could hear her voice telling me to write. Lynn, write, write, and write. And that's what I did. I started writing this movie, this script, Bull Street, and I started healing and finding my way through it. And I was discovering so many amazing things. And my grandmother would often say, when I finish here in the big city, I'm going to go back to South Carolina and sit on the porch with my legs crossed and drink tea. And so I thought that this movie would be a great way to bring her back home.
The film Bull Street follows Lou Esther and her grandmother, Mrs. Big Gal, played by Loretta Devine, as they face eviction from their home in the fictional town of Puckney, South Carolina. Characters in the film face struggles of generational trauma, mental illness, and a racist power structure.
With the land lost, you know, we've got to determine, there's so many families that have lost land for whatever reason, no deeds, or it was taken away, but we've got to find a way to stop that. And we address that.
The movie was filmed in 2022 in the town of Somerton, something executive producer Wendy Tucker Tannick says was crucial for the story.
They opened their home so we could actually film in there. You know, they would come to give us pointers, or, I mean, even I think Lynn can capitalize on this, but as we're trying to adjust to the heat, they came out. I mean, they would bring us lemonade on a rainy day if need be. You know, they would bring us raincoats. They were just absolutely amazing. The locations that we had, we couldn't have done it without them. And, you know, for that, we'll forever be grateful. And our way of giving back is bringing this film to South Carolina first.
Melinda Hale plays Lou Esther and says she fell in love with her role from the moment she read her script.
It's very original, something we haven't seen before, which is always something I want to take part of. I want to take part of original stories that need to be told, but also being a part of what I feel is very iconic, to have a Black female director and writer, a Black female executive producer, Black female leads. I just think that that's something exciting. And as we're moving more into having diverse projects out in the world, I'm very thrilled that I got to be a part of this one.
We were the little engine that became the big engine. And that's what it means, but just so much gratitude and for what South Carolina has done for me with this film.
Now Bull Street will hit the big screen in South Carolina, opening at the Nick in downtown Columbia on June 5th. Writers, producers, and cast will be there to meet with people who are going to watch the film for the first time. The film will premiere statewide on June 7th, and you can find the exclusive theaters it will be shown on Bull Street at bullstreetmovie.com.